Now, as I'm doing this video, NEO stock is up 1%, trading at $4.14. Li Auto up 0.1%, $21.91 is the share price. Xpeng up 7.2%, trading at $13.99. Rivian up 0.7%, $14.05. Lucid up 0.33%, trading at $3 per share. Then Zika at 0.04%, trading at $25 per stock. Now, one thing that we are seeing coming from Xpeng is that Xpeng is starting to outpace NEO in terms of its market cap. I mean, a couple of days ago, comparing NEO's market cap to that of Xpeng, it was $1 billion, $2 billion. But right now, it appears that Xpeng's market cap is $5 billion more than that of NEO, which is something that, of course, it's not good. Saying this is something that obviously makes investor wonder. But of course, we know that NEO fundamentals continues to be strong, and Xpeng, I think one of the reasons we've been seeing them or we've been seeing the market rewarding them is that recently in terms of deliveries, they've been doing pretty well. From insurance registrations, from monthly sales, they've been doing so well. But something that you must know about Xpeng and NEO, how they differ, is that number one, of course, Xpeng cars are way cheaper than NEO cars, which is why they usually do well, because their market in China is much more than the kind of market that NEO is selling their cars. Yes, NEO has got Onvo that obviously you would put it maybe in the same ranking as, of course, some of the Xpeng models, but you will know that with Onvo, NEO is still ramping up the production capacity, which therefore they cannot sell as much because the production capacity is still being ramped up. I mean, the most that Onvo can sell, as per what we saw in December, is around 10,500. I know right now it will be more, but they still can't sell more than Xpeng. Xpeng, on the other hand, the production capacity has ramped up. They are able to do more. But under the NEO models, you know that their market, or the kind of people that can afford NEO cars in China, are not that much, and therefore sales you can expect sales that Xpeng generates being equivalent to the kind of sales that, of course, NEO generates. Yes, I know that NEO right now, some of their models are getting a bit old, and therefore that Xpeng having some new models like P7, Mona 3, obviously that gives them some good advantage in terms of volumes, sales volumes, right? But hopefully when the second half, or in the second half, where we're going to see NEO launching new models, that gets to at least, or we also see NEO starting to pick up in terms of sales. But as it stands, we know that NEO is doing whatever they can to ramp up the production capacity for Onvo. And with that, for Xpeng to generate, so all this just simply means one thing. For Xpeng to generate like the revenues that NEO would generate with their ET7, ES8, they would have to sell 2 Mona 3s or something like that, because it's not that cheap. NEO cars are quite expensive, which obviously for Xpeng to generate the kind of revenues that, let's say, NEO generates, when you look into cars only by 30 cars, Xpeng will need to sell maybe 60,000 cars. That's, for an example, 50 to 60,000 cars to generate the same revenues that NEO generates with 30,000 cars. This is something that obviously you need to have at the back of our minds. But again, Xpeng, they've been doing well in terms of sales, and the way things are looking, they might be profitable before NEO, which is still fine. But this does not make me not to like NEO and like Xpeng, because NEO, you will know that one thing that, or the second thing that makes them to differ from Xpeng, is obviously their technology, their infrastructure technology, like battery swapping, which that technology in itself, I realize that some of the people still don't realize the potential that lies within that technology, the kind of revenues that NEO can generate or will be generating in the near future from that technology. I mean, 2 weeks back, we were seeing a partnership that NEO formed sometimes last year with Chery, where some of the new Chery models will be utilizing NEO's battery swapping stations, which that will generate revenues not only for, that will generate revenues for NEO and Chery, which is something that is pretty exciting, because it will unlock some pretty good, decent revenues for NEO. Today, from electric vehicles, I mean, we read also that GEC apparently it's preparing their model, or it's currently awaiting for internal approval on their model that will be utilizing also NIO's battery swapping stations. Now, the reason why this is big and massive is that, like I said, not only is this battery swapping station infrastructure will be utilized by NIO, Envoy, and Firefly, but Chery, by the end of this year, there are two models called Exceed, SUV, and Sedan, will be utilizing NIO's battery swapping station. GEC, or model that we read about today, very soon we could see it also going to utilize NIO's battery swapping stations. And these are not the only models from these brands that will be utilizing NIO's battery swapping stations. There are still going to be more models to be launched at a later stage that will be utilizing NIO's battery swapping stations. And with that, it means tons and tons of revenues will be coming onto NIO's laps, and we are definitely going to be rewarded. So this is the reason why I'll continue investing onto NIO and may not maybe worry that much about what Xpeng is doing in terms of the share price, what Xpeng it's selling in terms of the sales volume, because we know that NIO is not just big when it comes to selling cars, but they are also big when it comes to infrastructure for charging and swapping. It's not only for swapping, but also charging. I think Xpeng yesterday announced that they have reached, or they now have a total of 10,000 chargers in China. And NIO, on the other hand, they've got over 25,000 chargers, which shows you that it's not about battery swapping station, that NIO is dominating, as it is the only EV maker deploying that kind of technology, but also in the charging infrastructure. NIO is dominating, because in fact, 80% of the time, the people that are utilizing NIO's battery charging infrastructure are the non-NIO users, or are the other brands that would go to NIO charging stations and charge their cars. It is for this reason we've been seeing NIO forming strategic partnership, or other EV companies coming to NIO and asking NIO to connect their users to their grid or to their charging infrastructure, because they're the company in China with most charging infrastructure, which would make sense that they connect to NIO's charging infrastructure. So this is another thing, or another side of NIO, which makes me to invest onto NIO, because it's not just about selling cars, but it's about after sales services like battery swapping station, charging infrastructure, where NIO even this year intends on being more aggressive when they are deploying their charging infrastructure, battery swapping. I did say that for battery swapping, by the end of this year, it won't be surprising to see 5,000 battery swapping stations in the streets of China, because of the partnerships, because of the kind of sales that NIO will be generating from their cars, which is so great. And it just makes me to look forward to the kind of revenue incomes that NIO will generate from this. I am happy, I am excited. Sales wise, when you look into cars, you will know that NIO is expected to sell 450,000 vehicles, whilst Xpeng is expected to sell 400,000 deliveries. This is coming from Deutsche Bank, and obviously it therefore means we could expect to see NIO selling more than obviously Xpeng, regardless of the good start that we are seeing onto Xpeng. And I think we're definitely going to see that, because you will know that NIO is not only introducing new models in the second half of this year. There are two models coming out of the sub-brand Envoy. There's a Firefly model starting sales in April. Then there's the ET9 also, which is going to make NIO total models to be 9. All that, it is the reason why, or that makes me to invest onto NIO, because I know one thing, and that is blue sky is coming. Those that are persevering will most definitely be rewarded with time. Otherwise, with all that, just thought I'd give you this quick updates to say that market cap of Xpeng right now as compared to that of NIO, Xpeng has got a market cap which is $5 billion, or almost $5 billion more than that of NIO, which is something that obviously shows us the opportunity that this is offering to the NIO long-term investor. I'm not certified to give you professional financial advice. So if you want to sell NIO, you can do that. If you want to move to Xpeng, you can do that. If you want to trim your NIO holdings to buy Xpeng, you can do that. But as for me, I'm going to remain onto NIO, because I know one thing, and that is blue sky is coming. I'll see you on my next video. That's all from me, and God bless you all.